Well, good day, tubes. Bruce here. I've had quite a few requests to do a small video on my homemade jack press and bench grinder stand. That's a mouthful, eh? So, I guess we'll start on what it was originally. As you can see, pardon me, the base and the uprights, this was originally what they call a relay rack from the old days. These were in communication stations. You can kind of guess where I used to work, right? And this rack originally, if we can start down here, it'll give you an idea. These holes weren't there. So the rack itself was somewhere between 9 and 12 feet high, and all it consisted of was the base with 4 holes, which I filled in with the welder. And this will give you an idea of, oh man, this is heavy. Just one sec. Right. So that is, I had 2 of them, and this is one of the pieces of the vertical, right? So I'm reaching up, and it's still not at the top. That's probably 7 feet high. So that is what that was, and the color too. Everything was army green. So just a minute, we'll just put this back. Good. Okay, so you got an idea what it looked like. And then it had a section across, horizontally across the top. So then I cut it off at the same height as my benches, including the wheels. And the wheels, I got lazy and I just welded the wheels on. Steady wheels at the back, or stationary wheels at the back, and then casters at the front. You can see that? Whoop, casters at the front. There you go, see that? So then the base, which moves every 3 inches, I think. Whoops. The base, which moves every 3 inches with these carriage bolts, moves down and down and down, or up and up and up, gives you the gap for the jack press. And then I made these little pressing feet. I just welded these out of, looks like 3/8 inch steel. I welded them together and then ground them off as nice as I could. Of course, everything gets a coat of gray, and then these got a coat of black. This right here is just a piece of the upright turned horizontally with a plate to bolt the jack right there. And then it's cut, I don't know if you can maybe see, yes, it's cut about, oh, I don't know, 3/16 of an inch around for clearance there and there. And I had to really work at that so that it wouldn't bind, but it would still go up and down. And then finding the right springs was tough, just to make sure you got the balance. So I'll show you what I mean by balance. So let's say you want to press a bearing or take a bearing off. And I just did this spindle. I'll add that piece of video in there. I think it was, we pressed it down, and you bring the, it's slow, this is what jack presses do, and it starts to contact the piece. It should contact it soon. There it is, it touched, and you just keep going until you want to press or separate whatever you're doing. And then the springs, which I just mentioned, bring it back. So it's a poor man's arbor press. And as I mentioned in one of the videos, I bent this, I put so much pressure on it, I was bending some steel. I put so much pressure on it that I bent this piece. So I put in a new piece, and then I put the diagonal braces on. So I knew that I wasn't going to use this a lot. I mean, this is something that a backyard mechanic might use, once a month or once every 2 months or something. So I thought it was taking up a lot of space in the garage for really the amount of use it got. So I drilled some holes in the top and I added the 1/8 inch top, which comes off. It's just bolted in 2 spots. And then each bench grinder is added with wing nuts that I made. Those are bolts welded, I think they thread in. The nut is on the bottom, if I'm not mistaken. 1 second. Yes. So a 5/16 bolt welded to a wing nut. And I'm sure you can buy those, but I made them. It's all about fun, right? Just gotta put that back. There we go. And then I added an extension cord, good quality extension cord, to a 4-position outlet, which is grounded to the unit. And then the 2 bench grinders can plug into the bottom, and then I've still got outlets for other grinders or lights or whatever I want to do on the top. And the super cool thing about this, well, I just think the whole thing's cool, but one of the really cool things is that it's exactly the height of my benches. You'll see that, eh? And I've made up my homemade dies for bending 90-degree wider pieces, right? Or 90-degree smaller pieces. You can put more press on it. You can put more pressure on a small piece. And this is just made out of angle iron. Now remember, the inside section of an angle iron is not 90 degrees. It's thinner here than here. So I took 2 pieces and welded them to what they call a coupon when you're learning to weld. And then this is 90 degrees right there, not this. So what else can I say because I talk too much? So sometimes to make up the different, anybody who's used an arbor press or a jack press of any kind, a lot of the times you use an old socket or something like that to make up the difference, right? And try and use an old socket, right? Don't wreck your new sockets. And then right up underneath here, this cup for the jack, because that's the top of the jack right there, this is just a bearing race that I welded into the top of this. And then there's a piece of steel right here to give this more rigidity on the impact point between here and here. And then I paint everything gray. And over time, of course, it gets beat up. But that's okay. If you're beating something up, that means you're using it, right? So, homemade jack press bench grinder stand with AC plugs. Thanks for watching, tubes. And I am trying to press this shaft out of this hub. I don't know if it's going to go or not. I got a socket on top of the shaft here. Something happened. Okay, let's have a look. Yes, it's coming off. See that? Look at all the crap coming out of there too, eh? So let's get this done. I got a hunch I'm going to have to press this twice. Oh, I've gone as far as I can there. Okay. Pressure holding on there, eh? It's Canadian. Okay, We've got about a ½ an inch to go here, so we'll just get the small persuader. Hey, that's what we wanted to replace, right?